So good morning, everybody. If I can get my first slide. Before I do the presentation, I need to apologize. I'm an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. And I'm only the messenger of the data we collect. We pronounce ourselves wrong, INCIT. It's INCIT in English, not because I'm German. I cannot speak English. That is also sometimes the way. But we collect a lot of data to verify where is the company and aggregate the data on government level normally. So where's the world? After 15 years of stage talks, the world is on average at 1.88. We measure the digital transformation in a band 0 to 5. And there's only one mistake it's in South America, because we work with Senai very much in Brazil. They have 200,000 factories. They execute at the moment 35,000 assessments there. And they measure at the moment only MNCs. That is the reason in South America the results are quite positive. The yellow marks I show here should indicate the following thing. If the organization build block with employees and leadership capabilities is not advancing the technology build block by 0.8 bandwidth, there's a stagnation worldwide, and the employees and the leaders are not enabling the technology further, which then leads to the current result. What we see from our data, we see a stagnation shock. So we looked into the transformation worldwide 2022 and 2024. And when you screen the QR code, you will get a 75 pages data analytics, a flip chart, which showing you the world data. And the stagnation shock is showing that worldwide the productivity is further declining. Now, let's have a look. Yesterday we made a presentation in UK. What you see here is the UK landscape of micro SMEs, the majority. So overall you can say 80% of the UK industry is, to say, covered by SMEs. 60 to 80%. And the problem is that the supply chain within UK comes from the SMEs. And only the MNCs at the moment driving the digital transformation, also covered by the government. Which means if you not get the bottom line up, you will not improve the top line. This is the problem. Now, let's have a look what they did. They have 6 industry clusters in UK, where they individually sponsor, incentivize changes in digital transformation. But it's a regional focus with the investment. The topic is there is no measuring of data, what has been done, to see the progress in the different ones, and the programs are fragmented. Then, sorry, the loudspeaker here, the microphone. The government normally measures different KPIs to the KPIs manufacturers care about. And these KPIs, by the way, we call it EPIC KPIs, Enterprise Performance Impact KPIs. We measure also in those assessment, health check, X-ray reports, however you want to mention, because beside that we need to answer, where am I now? What is the next step? Customized I need to focus on. What is the impact created by my transformation? And the last pain point is, are we competitive because we're doing all those things? So all those things are answered, but I only have 15 minutes for my presentation. I need to hurry. So there are 5 uncomfortable truths from these 75 pages of data we created. The first one is the performance gap is growing between the MNCs and the SMEs. The SMEs are further led behind, so to say. Typically, companies start at the wrong place. I give you the facts, the data behind it. And the leadership gap for SMEs is growing. Then, I do not elaborate on that one when you read the report. There is a motion where those progress illusion, very much what we see, and companies, governments do not do bottom-up data analytics to really track the progress. Now, Let's look at the performance. Here you see the 16 dimension of digital transformation. And what you see, the MNCs improved in the last 2 years by 11% the top line, whereby when we're looking to the SMEs, they only increased by 2%. So this is why we say the gap is widening, and if you have a local supply chain, you need to focus on the SMEs, because if you're not getting the bottom line up, the top line will not move. Second, we start on the wrong place. Micro SMEs, today, living from the hand in the mouth, though these are the KPIs they focus on. Then operational, medium-sized companies have different ones, and strategically the MNCs have also, and these we measure because in our assessments we ask them what KPIs are you focusing on, and if we aggregate the data on the world, you see the different focuses of the different sizes of the companies. And this is now the biggest gap. We talk a lot about reskilling, upskilling of workforce. By the way, we are in over 70 countries now, and we have contracts with more than 10 governments where we advise with the data, the policy, and the standards they create for investment, for education, and for macro policies. So what you see now is that the biggest problem and the elephant to be solved is the leadership competency. And here, by example, the gap is widening between the SMEs and the MNCs. You could see in the last 2 years, the SMEs nearly did not move at all, whereby the MNCs invested in the training. Actually, my predecessor in the presentation of Greece already indicated that one. Now, what do we now propose? At the moment, we work together with Make UK and High Manufacturing Catapult UK, and we propose that they now focus on the industry segments and measure across the size, and then we aggregate the data, and we aggregate the data on the industry segment, but also for governments cross all industry segments to get the indicators, what policy, what is the innovation power, what is the macro policy of inflation rate doing, what is the employment rate doing in the future. Now we're coming to another real case. I smile a little bit because something was already touched from my predecessor in the presentation. This is a country who approached us, and this is anonymously now, and they said, Raimund, our export capability is declining sharply. So we measured the digital transformation with a SIRI, Smart Industry Readiness Index, and what you see is this country who approached us, we compared anonymously, we will never do a one-to-one comparison, with 17 other countries in the same capita by GDP. And what you can see is that this country, which is a developed country in Europe, is under the lowest of the 17. And then we extract the multinationals, and we compared them in a 3B benchmark. So you see the green line are the top 10% of the companies of the 17 countries. The purple one is the 80% of the 17 countries, and the red line are the bottom 10%. And the orange line are the aggregated MNCs of this country who approached us. Now, when you then map the GDP development of the 17 countries on average of the 20 years with the GDP development of this country, they're lagging behind. And then they ask us, and again, my predecessor touched it, what is the root cause of it? You need to know, we collect the data in a way that manufacturers are able to release the data. It's not confidential. So by example, we take a cost profile in cost block 0 to 100%. So what we realized is, the root cause is, this country does not invest in technology. The other countries invest 16% on average, and this country only invests 3.99%. Could have two reasons: leadership competency or wrong tax policy on investment of industry. Which one? We cannot interpret here. That's the reason we call ourselves a prioritization index, because it's open for discussion and interpretation, the data. Now, what happened? The people try, from our interpretation, to reach cost leadership, and they lost cost leadership because not investing in technology disturbed the raw material and consumable. They have higher cost in labor and SG&A. Only by nature, they have a slight advantage in maintenance and utilities. But overall, they lost the competitiveness. And now, everybody hopes industrial AI will solve my problem. I didn't focus on digital transformation, but industrial AI, that's a cracker, ladies and gentlemen. And I must tell you, it's not a cracker. Because if you compare both, I'm not going too much into detail. By example, what we see, the factory locations will change. We see that the multinationals will build the factories where the demand is in future to reduce the CO2 footprint of their products with the CO2 passport. And sustainability will be a major driver. That's the reason it's very good that Greek is focusing on it, because that will be the future. And now, only from the sheer complexity, I would say Industry 4.0 is a green belt, but Industry 5.0 is the black belt. So you're going to dynamic real-time data transfer with 5G. You have a model accuracy where you need to transfer the data in an interpretable way to a new data structure. So forget everything you did in Industry 4.0 with the data structure. It will be completely differently. And be careful, because CO2 neutrality with AI is an additional challenge. So your future workforce might be threefolded. So we see three trends. Countries with a lot of labor will go into augmented workforce. Then we have countries who own the semiconductor chips. They're going into AI agentic. And we have countries who want the chips and don't get it. And we see they heavily invest in humanoid robots. So these are already existing. Now, let's move and slaughter industrial AI in its components into the enablers on top, the dark blue one, the levers, and into the enablers. Only a few to mention. Connectivity is a major topic. I stress that because at the end of my presentation, I show you how we're lagging behind in connectivity. Number two, AI data readiness is a topic. Connectivity, 5G, this is really an investment needed. And because of ethical considerations, there will be digital managers taking and formalizing the decision. There is no operating system centralized anymore, it's decentralized. And because of the energy consumption of AI, you need to make a decision, AI or not AI. Now I smile again, but the first decision you need to make, do I create my own model or do I buy the model? So we have AIMRE 12. When you as a company say, Raimund, I buy the chip from OpenAI, I buy the chip from NVIDIA, but we have the AIMRE 20 if you want to create your own model. So our system is then measuring where you are, and the complexity I show you now, you will not get in touch because our software platform is solving that. Because each of the dimensions has proof points. So we now, formulating since 12 months with German Telekom, we developed that one because they are interested in the 5G market. And then we need to scale down the band of AI into the proof points, by example here, operation management of production, quality, and maintenance. So it's not only one band. So this is a 1 week training. We at the moment started to roll it out with exam. And we have to ease the process. So our system is doing with assessors 2-day state. Then we customize, ask which cost profile you want to address as the company owner. Then we ask what is the key performance indicator. So is it quality? Is it material throughput? So where shall AI help you? Then our system takes the best in class, and with the proximity factor, we generate a report. And in this report comes now something which was also mentioned in the presentation before me. What is the impact? Now, how do we measure impact of AI? We have certain AIs, number one, on the top left side. We also measure in digital transformation, but they are AI-enabled. But there will be 2 ones which are completely new. This is the autonomous operation. Number 1, adaptive resource optimization, supply chain distribution, and autonomous operation rate of your production site. So out of the 5,000 processes, how many are really autonomous health? And when I go at the moment to the factories and they show me a robot and there's an AI chip in and say we also have AI on our factories, ladies and gentlemen, this is not AI. This is a very small area where they want to show they're not falling behind. So also what you see in sustainable operation, we measure here energy usage and scrap rate. And now we're coming to the 90%. If we now going to the aggregated of thousands of assessments we have in our database, you see the bottom 10% is the red line and 80% is the blue line. At the moment, only 10% of the companies are ready to move in industrial AI. And those on the left side, when you look especially on job shop connectivity compared to the top movers, they really focus on it, and you see already here the difference in which direction it's going. So our recommendation is you can introduce AI as an iterative approach, take a use case, we call it RTG, ready to go result solution for it, but we recommend do your homework in digital transformation, and only when you reach a certain star rating, then you move into AI, because your workforce is not ready, your leadership is not ready, your basic automation is not ready, and your connectivity is not in the way that AI can be used. Now, the question is, of course, what I showed you with the red, with the blue, with the black, not everybody is in the stage of moving into digital transformation or AI. So our portfolio is moving from operational excellence. This is used by UNIDO, by example. It's on iPhone app, so if you put Opry in, it's only 32 euros. What normally costs you 2,000 to 3,000 euros, we charge at the moment 32, and then our system is telling you when you reach a certain stage, move into digital transformation, and here we map it with industrial AI. Now, summary. Not moving is not the question. You need to change, and the prerequisite it is for survival. But the question is, where's your starting point? Is it operational excellence? Is it digital transformation? Or are you going already into industrial AI? Then the question is, the strategic department for SMEs is missing. So our system is replacing and give guidance with the outer road mapping where to focus as a next step on. The next step is the analytics. Where am I? Am I competitive? What is the impact? What is the next step? This is answered in these analytics. And for governments, at the moment, we have an R&D project that we interpret the data for macro policy, education policy, and industrial investment policy. So we work with 8 economists together that we give a data guidebook for governments how to interpret the data. Then something is missing, and we have that, but I'm already over my time, I'm soon done. Leaders, when we tell them what is the next step, they either don't know which technology to take, or they don't know who is delivering the technology. So we have Prioritize Plus post-assessment matchmaking platform. It's free of charge, where we normally populate all the startups of a country, and then we help them to generate through that, because the company is clicking on the dimension, and then they see all the technology providers helping them, and this is free of charge. We are a non-for-profit organization, and then we move out. And, sorry, and now I need to drink something after that. The topic is you need to map the requirements with the workforce and leadership capabilities to give them the training, what was also mentioned. Then it's an iteration, and the impact is measured by EPIC KPIs. So don't get me wrong, I'm not a pessimist, I'm an optimist. The data reveals it, so don't make the same mistake as it is done at the moment with digital transformation. Thank you very much.